so we're here to talk about how to build one of these bad boys right here, a wakeskate wakeboard winch. Basically you can use it for anything you want to, it'll just pull you straight through it. Now the reason I put how to build a cheap wakeskate winch at the start of this video is because we all know, because we've all researched it, that these things from a factory can be quite pricey. Not all of us have the, $1 or $2 grand to spend on one of these winches. So here's a cheap solution for you guys to build one for yourself. So what I've done is stripped off all the main parts to give you guys a good look at all the working components we've got here. And I'll run you through the stages and main components you'll need to set it up for the first time. So obviously to start with, you're going to need a frame. This is the simplest frame we have designed ourselves. It's basically just a square on a square. And then you just run a couple trolley wheels at the back here and mount your engine to that. When you're designing your frame, which you will do because that is the cheapest way to do it, you'll just raise this level up here for your spool to sit on, and then that way your engine can run your chain up to the spool and that'll spin off the ground so it's not dragging on the ground and flicking dirt everywhere. We've added these custom pipe motocross, or used motocross grip handles onto ours for ease of moving it around, and those have really been awesome for us. As soon as we added those on, we noticed the addition straight away. So the second component you'll need is a spool for the rope to go onto. This is basically just a big boy version of those cotton reels you get in the sewing kit, and it's beefed up to take the weight of a wakeboarder off it. To build a simple spool like we've done, you just take two big metal plates, 1, 2, and you weld some bars between it. Not too far apart so that it's a square, but close enough together that you get a semi-round curve around here once you've wrapped the rope, and that'll give you a consistent pull. And third and rather important component of building a winch is the motor. This, you really need about 6.5 horsepower minimum to get a good pull on with the centrifugal clutch setup. So don't go below 6.5 horsepower, and we got this motor here for $300 I think it was. So that's relatively as cheap as you want to go for that, or else you'll really be regretting it once you finish your build. And this here is just mounted to our frame with a bit of 5mm plate and some spring washed bolts that we've got there, and that has not budged since we've been doing multiple hours with this engine setup. And once you have the two main components there of the engine and the spool, you'll be needing to get that power from the engine to the spool to the wakeboarder somewhere over there. So what you're going to need is, the cheapest way is a centrifugal clutch setup like this. This is just a go-kart centrifugal clutch. You can get them. This is a 5/8 input and then a 10 or 12 sprocket output I think on that one, running to a classic motorcycle sprocket there, and that's about as simple as cheap as you'll get that set up. Some winches you'll notice will not have a centrifugal clutch. They will instead have a torque converter setup which has another pulley and stuff kind of sitting in here, but that is a more expensive option. So if you're going for that and you have the money to spend on that, definitely take it. But again, that's another few $100s that you have to spend on parts, and when you're going for a budget option like this, which there are no problems with at all, the centrifugal clutch is definitely the way to go. So how it works is your motor will idle as normal, because these go-kart clutches are set up for these 5 horsepower to 8 horsepower engines, so it won't put any power through when you're idling, but as soon as your revs go up, your clutch shoes will pull off their springs and then make contact with this outer plate here, and then that will begin to spin your winch, and then your wakeboarder will go flying into the air. And last but not least, a not essential but very handy device to have on your winch is a disc brake. We've got this connected up to a motorbike handlebar system with our throttle as well, and this has just made it so much easier to stop the handle when it comes flying in here after our wakeboarder has fallen off. instead of panicking to shut the throttle off, you can just jam on the brakes and it'll just stop, and then that makes it easier for running out as well. So once again, not essential, but if you've got the extra $50 to buy a second-hand one, you know, off eBay or Trade Me if you're in New Zealand, definitely go for it, because it's really handy to have there. And we have not even gone for a disc, we've just gone for a circular piece of 5mm plate that we've wedged in there. So once again, just making the cheapest possible winch we can, and it has not had any faults with it so far, so we're not faulting it at all, so go for that. Once again, a few extra components you will add no doubtedly after you've used the winch once bare like this, because you'll do exactly what we do, and then have water spraying in your face, so you decide to put a cover on it, on the spool, and then you'll also have oil spraying around from your chain, so you'll decide to put a chain guard on that as well. So once again, two not essential components, but ones that you'll add in later once you decide to have a bit of a muck around with it. And yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the page, as we have many more big projects to come, including this beast over here, which is continually being upgraded and advanced on. And I hope that I have helped you guys out in your decision to build a cheap wake skate winch. Thank you guys, and see you next time.